When women go up the socioeconomic ladder, meaning they make more money, they want a partner who makes even more money. It doesn't even make sense.
On damn near every show, we do the female delusion calculator. This, Fresh and Fit do this as well. But we go on there and we'll take the the poll.
How
and say,
old are you?
Yeah, exactly.
How much do you weigh?
Yeah, exactly.
How much money do you make a year?
It's so if you go and you do this, like I've done it for myself too. But if you go into the delusion calculator, and it only uses two metrics. It uses the CDC as its statistics, and it uses the census.
Yeah, census data.
Census data. So you can put in like okay, ladies, what's the age range? What's the youngest you'd go for? What's the oldest? We go and put that in. Is he white? Is he Asian? Or doesn't matter? Like it can be all races. Height was another one. Like how tall is he? Usually women say, oh, he's got to be 6 feet, right? Of course. You just eliminated like 90%. So you're down to 16% now.
14% of the population are 6 feet.
And then that 75% of the U.S. population is overweight. So if you say, does he have to be obese? Well, obese, of course, he's got to be fat if that's the case too. So they'll go through all these data, and these are just basic things. So we're not talking about religion, or he's got to love his mom, or he likes puppy dogs in Disneyland, or anything like that. All the stuff. It's just basic. And we'll put this in there, and damn near every damn show, it's like they don't realize just how rare an animal it is that they're looking for, just based on CDC and Census Bureau data. And even when you show them it's 0.00047%, they go, I'm still going to beat the odds. Don't never tell me the odds. So they still think they're going to do it.
When you just say something like 6 feet tall, makes $100,000 a year, not married, because a lot of the guys that they're looking for are married, which is why, like I said before, they're offered infinite, and they're still trying to take someone else's man. You have all these things that they're looking for, the certain height, the certain income in the age bracket or whatever, and certain race, et cetera, et cetera. When you go through that and then they see it's 0.2% of men, they still, and then, so we do the opposite survey where because we don't even look at if the man's good looking. We do the opposite thing with the women. It's like, okay, so do we care about your height? We don't care about your height. So any height. Do we care about how much money you make? We don't care how much money you make. So they don't care about that. And then we go through the survey. It's like 14% of women are like in my category that I like, and 0.2% of men are in the category that you like. And you wonder why you can't find a good man. You could find a man that you're very attracted to. It's just he's got 17 other women in his DMs, and you don't consider that. Here's another thing. We were talking about this before. When women make more money than men, that's one of the precipitators of divorce, right? So what happens as we climb the socioeconomic ladder for women and men? As women climb the socioeconomic ladder, they would have less necessity for a man who makes a lot of money. And yet the opposite is what they desire. Rihanna was making all that money and was dating a billionaire for a while, okay? When women go up the socioeconomic ladder, meaning they make more money, they want a partner who makes even more money. It doesn't even make sense. Here's the thing, though. In all 37 cultures, remember the 37 culture study? As men make more money or climb the socioeconomic ladder, when they do that, you know what you find? The difference in age between them and their wife consistently increases in every single culture. The richest men have the greatest age differential between them and their wife. As women make more money, they want men who make more money. As men make more money, they want women who are younger. That's the set. And by the way, what I said, is it good or it's bad? No, but it is the truth. And it is not cultural. It is genetic. And that's the part that drives people crazy. They don't like this term. Dude, the idea that intelligence is genetic. I just had the discussion with Ty Lopez about this.
That's interesting.
If you have kids that are not smart, like the reality is there's a ton of things that they can do. They can go play running back, or they can become a painter. There's a bunch of things. They can actually become an incredible salesman. They can become an actor. There's a bunch of stuff. But the likelihood of somebody who has a 78 IQ, pushing it up to a 120 is impossible. Like your IQ just kind of is what it is. When it comes to eye color, when it comes to height, when it comes to skin color, or the coarseness of my hair, we don't have a problem when it comes to genetics. But when it comes to heritability of intelligence, people get woefully offended. No, I'm going to get my child into the best preschool ever, and they're going to get fucking smart. And you look at the studies and it's just not true. And these preschools are ripping you off, making you think that they're going to be able to do something when they can't. It's just not true. When you look at distribution of IQs, this is Aaron Clary who wrote about this, what you'll find is that men and women score about 100. They're on average. It's not like women are 2 or 3 points below. They're about the same. What happens is a far greater number of women score inside the first standard deviation, which is between the scores of 85 and 15. Far more men score outside that distribution, meaning the smartest humans alive are men and the dumbest humans alive are also men. Does that make sense? So we're outside wider in the distribution.
Extremes are where we're at.
The difference is so just consider there's like 2 chocolate cakes here. The difference is the women have this icing over their cake called emotions. And the emotion like it clouds the logic. They have the intellectual horsepower to do things like become astrophysicists. They have the ability to do that, but do they want to? And so this emotional, I don't know what to say, how to say it, but it's like maybe just estrogen. This thing that happens, it clouds their ability to do things. It's like what is Ronald Reagan said about Democrats? It's like Democrats are smart too. They just know too many things that aren't true. You know, it's stuff like that. It's like, but what happens, where the danger comes is that when your emotions are so strong that you start believing that your emotions outweigh objective reality. Then we start getting into dangerous situations. Then you're talking to your girl, telling her not to drink and drive. You know, when you're talking to her on the phone, but she's like, no, I did some. And you ever talk to somebody like that? I did some coke, so I'm good.
It's like I don't think you're hearing me.
And then you tell them, it's like, hey, just and it's funny because I've done this before. I had a friend of mine. She was like drunk as shit. She snorts some coke. And she's like, yeah, I'm sober now because I snorted coke. And so I send her the study showing you're not more sober.
Really not.
You just have a higher heart rate. Your heart rate has gone up because you did the cocaine, but you're literally just as drunk. And she's like, but she feels like she's sober, so she drives anyway, bro. Like it's a crazy,
because people still cling to the ideal of the blank slate.
Yes,
they think that there's
we're fighting against the blank slate.
Everything.
Exactly.
I've been throwing out this term throughout today's shows. It's social constructionism. People think that it's society that makes you this way. No, it's not. The nature versus nurture debate is over and has been over really since the mid 2000s when we plotted the human genome. And so there's actually, I don't have it on, I couldn't give it to you on hand right now, but there are 4 laws of behavioral genetics. And these are, if you read these and you go through, just step by step, each one of these, you'll understand that basically pretty much everything we do, like behaviorally, what we are express in ourselves it's all fundamentally genetic. And so like what we were saying about IQ, that's genetic, it's heritable, right? So just the same way as like inheriting like blue eyes or brown eyes or whatever else, it's pretty much the same thing. People don't want to talk about that because they still want to believe that everybody was born equal, and then from there you can just do whatever you want. It's like, no, we're not born equal. Okay, I mean, it should be obvious that first of all. Second of all is the idea that it is all about society and social constructed. Everything that we do, for instance, when we're talking about like body fat acceptance or beauty standards and these things, women only find these little teeny tiny cover models to be beautiful because they've been taught and socially engineered to think that. No. That's the way the machine evolved 200,000 years ago. Has nothing to do with that. But the thing is it's convenient. We're still clinging to when it comes to like sociology, psychology, evolutionary psychology, all that stuff. This has like been like settled a long time ago, but we're still clinging to these ideas like the blank slate, ghost in the machine, the naturalistic fallacy, meaning like if it's natural, it's got to be better than if it's not natural. No, it's hemlock is still going to kill you even though it grows in the ground. Okay. And then there's social constructionism, and then there's the really what boils down to emotionalism. And I think one of the biggest conflicts that we're always going to run into, whether it's ideologically or if people want to say the red pill's about politics or it's about ideology or it's really, to me, no, it's always going to be about intersectional dynamics. But even in those terms, you're going to have a conflict between empiricism, objective reality, and people's emotions, emotionalism. So anytime I see this conflict, like we're going to debate whether God is real or he's not, okay? The one side is going to be as analytical and as mathematical as possible. The other side's going to argue from emotion. And it doesn't necessarily have to be left versus right or right versus left because they both rely on emotional argument. When you come and you throw out empirical data and people don't want to feel bad about that, they'll tell you you're a bad person. And so when I'm talking, I try to do things from a position of being a factual absolutist. I want to know what is true. Whether it's right or it's wrong, well, we can talk about like best practices later on. Right, but I want to know what's true and create a predictive framework around what is reliably true before I can say, here's how we ought to do it. Here's how we should behave as according to this truth that we know, right? Whereas people want to reverse that process. You're a bad person, and unless you can tell me something different, unless you can tell me I win the argument until you can come up with a better emotional argument to tell me why I'm wrong. You're basically, you have like empiricists and emotionalists, and they're talking past one another because the emotional side wants to find out if you're a bad or a good person or what's the best practice, where the empiricist is saying, here's the numbers, here's the stats, and here's what's true.
Both are
so
like,
you
that's
don't,
not the
you
point.
don't, you're not even having a, that's why I say debate is dead, because the people who are doing the debate, one's usually the empiricist and the other is the emotionalist, and they talk past each other. And the goal of the debate for an empiricist is to find out what's true. The goal of the debate for the believer, for the emotionalist, is, are you a son of